It's live. Oh, there it is.
And we're live for another episode of Bonafide Her podcast featuring Nicole Robison. Pew, 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 pew,
Wow, great energy. Great energy.
pew. Yes. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on. It's beautiful out, as you can see in the background. So I'm just enjoying my backyard and a little break in between class and workouts. How are you?
Yes. Oh my God. It just looks so beautiful. It looks like it's very sunny and just clear skies and everything.
Which is great because it was raining like an hour ago. So I thought I was going to have to do this in my bedroom.
Oh.
But
And the lighting looks great too. So,
great.
so
Great. Good angles.
let's get it started. So, Miss Nicole, can you tell us like your journey, your athletic journey, and how you got to where you are right now?
Of course. So I'm originally from St. Petersburg, Florida, which is right near Tampa. And I started playing every sport when I was little. Started with tennis and then soccer, track and field, um, basketball. But I started playing indoor volleyball when I was 11 years old. My older sister started playing on a club team, and so naturally I copied her. And that was my first like truly soccer was my first like competitive sport. But volleyball was right there with it. So fifth grade, I played my first travel team. I loved it. I had to quit soccer for it. And I knew pretty much from that, like from when I was 12, that I wanted to play at the highest level in college. So I played club indoor volleyball for a total of 6 years until my sophomore year of high school when I discovered beach volleyball and how that was an emerging NCAA sport. And once I started playing them both, I realized that beach volleyball was the one for me to really pursue. At some universities, you can play on like both teams because they're two separate NCAA sports. But as I tried to balance them both my sophomore year of high school, I was experiencing a lot of burnout, a lot of physical and mental stress on my body. And I figured that I might as well be amazing at one instead of good at both. I felt like I was plateauing, and I really had that goal of playing like high level Division 1 volleyball. So I thought my best chance of doing that would be in beach volleyball. So at the time, it was kind of a risk because sophomore year of high school, like you're 16, a lot of girls already committed, especially like for the top schools. And I had been like I'd started on both recruiting processes. Like I had kind of schools for indoor and schools for beach. Uh, but once I made that decision after my sophomore year season, so the summer like right up before my junior year, I had to had to tell the indoor side of things like I'm gonna actually focus on beach volleyball now. And then with beach volleyball, I was like, all right, I'm all in now. I don't have to balance another sport and another team and another commitment. And uh, I felt, like I said, I felt a little behind in the game because by that time, like a lot of the top talents already committed and knows where they're going. But I just had a lot of belief in myself, and I felt like my ceiling for beach volleyball was way higher than with indoor. Like I had a lot to grow in, and with the time that I would now have, not competing in indoor volleyball, I could focus that on beach and get better fast, and that's what happened. Um, I committed to Santa Clara the end of my junior year of high school. Right, and it's funny, we had like our first talk like the week COVID happened and shut down. So like that was just a whole nother wrench in the recruiting journey. Like I had 3 months of being a beach volleyball player before before COVID happened, and of course that was hard for everyone. But I'm grateful that being in Florida, I got to maintain some normalcy, some like I could still work out outside. And I had a friend who plays at USC. She had a court in her backyard, so we would just train a lot, play games, keep our sanity and our mental health by letting out all of our physical energy. And like I was recording all these games they're playing, sending them out to coaches. Like my coach here actually like watched like a live stream of me playing in this backyard because you had to adapt, right? Like no in person anything. So I never I had two official visits before COVID happened. And then when COVID happened, that was the end of that. I had one canceled literally like the day, it was for the weekend. It was like March 12th when the NCAA shut down. My visit was supposed to be the 13th. So that was like really hard. I remember at the time. Um, but anyway, it worked out. I'm here at Santa Clara. I chose to come here because our coach is very world renowned in the beach volleyball world. He's like the winningest coach on the AVP, which is the Professional Beach Volleyball Tour in the United States. And it always been my dream to come play in California. I always associated that as like the best, where the best play. Um, Stanford's really close by, and though I'm not at Stanford, I always respected like the high level academics and athletics that were going on there. So I chose the next closest, and felt like it was the best choice for me to continue growing. Excuse me.
You good? No
Um,
worries.
okay, all better. um, I just felt like I could grow. I really needed to grow more as a player. I didn't want to be just another number on a roster. I wanted to be at somewhere where I knew a coach would invest in me as a person and help me grow, because of that kind of lost time I felt I had in my journey as a junior. Um, so I came to Santa Clara. I came in kind of with this nagging injury I had. I had pulled my left ab muscle a few times in uh, like during COVID, just like from all the training, and I would try to just put it off because all I was thinking about is just getting recruited and playing. But it had increasingly become a problem by like the end of my senior year. I took like a few months off before some national tournaments to try and fix it before getting to campus, but it never stayed gone for long. So as soon as I got to Santa Clara, I was in physical therapy again with one of our athletic trainers here, and I haven't been out since. Unfortunately, that's probably like the hardest thing that's been through my journey with sports so far. I so my freshman season at Santa Clara, I was doing well physically, and then our I kind of felt like that pull again in my muscle like 2 days before our first game. So we kind of tried to do some damage control because like the more you play and exert your body, the worse it gets. So the first 3 weeks of the season, I was fighting through it and playing, but I was like icing and resting like whenever we weren't playing games. I wasn't practicing much, and by the time our third tournament came around, I was in a lot of pain. So I got an MRI, and my ab was fully torn. So I was taken out for the rest of the season. It was like, you're a freshman, like we need to fully take care of this, heal, so you can come back and kick ass for your next 3 years. And me just being like, go, go, go all the time, not really knowing how to slow down. That was hard. That was definitely hard to hear mentally. I'm very much like, what can I do? What more can I do? Type person. And the more I could do was rest. So I did that. Um, and I was allowed to start physical therapy again 4 months later in July. Um, and that was going well. I came back to campus in September because we're a quarter system school, so we start later and end later than the rest of the country. Um, but I had really wanted to come back that season, or specifically the fall. So the fall is normally like the off season for beach volleyball, a lot of like technical work and like team development, and then the spring is when our actual season is, with all of the like hardcore games. But this fall, so fall 2022, there was the inaugural pairs beach volleyball national championship, which invited the top 64 pairs in the country to come play in this national championship in Alabama. And our school, Santa Clara, had one bid. So most schools had one bid, meaning they could send one pair of two people. Versus, and then like the top 10 schools had like two bids per school. So you're paying against top competition, and I really knew I wanted to try and qualify for that tournament because it was up to my coach to decide which girls he wanted to send. So I was happy as I started coming back into volleyball shape when I got back into campus in September. I was kind of like eased into playing again, and it had been 7, 8 months. But I was able to get selected to go to this national championship, feeling good, and I ended up pulling the muscle again that in like our first game, and like it was fine to play through. It was definitely disappointing when I thought all the time off hadn't like it wasn't enough because I still re-pulled the muscle again. Um, and it was realized like after talking with my athletic trainer, my doctor, that for the coming season, come February, I probably wouldn't be able to play pain free. So I had to decide between me and my coach whether I should fully sit out and redshirt or if I should play through and manage the pain as the season goes on. So I thought about it a lot, and I ended up playing this season. So it was spring 2023. I had an amazing partner that was super supportive, um, great player. We played at the top of the lineup the whole entire season, and I fully tore the muscle again in the second event of the year, but I had already convinced myself that I was going to play the whole season. So it was a lot of, again, like pain medication, recovery tools, not going 100% at practice, and just trying to. I had to learn how to change like my offense a lot in order to cater to the least amount of pain for my app because mostly it came from swinging hard at the ball. So I had to learn how to still score while being more crafty and slow paced, but great placement. So that was another like big kind of growth lesson within volleyball for me. And then I had to take a bunch of time off. Again, I got an injection in June to try and help promote recovery. Didn't feel any different, but I wasn't in. As soon as I wasn't in pain, I started back physical therapy, and then they had me take more time off. So it's been a journey, but ultimately I am redshirting this year now, my junior year. Um, to really get fully healed. And I am using the time off now to graduate early from Santa Clara and graduate transfer with the remaining 2 years of NCAA eligibility that I have.
Whoa, girl.
It's a
Like,
lot. That was a lot of talking. You said get a
no,
lot of
I enjoyed
details, so
it.
there
I
you
was
go.
like, you are a definition of what it means to go through trial tribulations and still standing. Because, girl,
I'm so
oh,
excited.
man. So you mentioned like just the all the different injuries that you've gone through. Like, did it at times? Did you feel like it affected your mental, especially like with mental health, like injuries sometimes kind of
A
play
hundred
with your
percent.
mental? Did you feel like it kind of just affected you like mentally, and like how did you like cope with it?
Yeah, it really. I was not in a great place in the times that I was taken out of volleyball. That the saying about movement being medicine is so true, and especially as someone who, like, not only enjoys playing the sport but enjoys working out in any capacity, having that taken away for months on end was hard. It like I mean, I'll be honest. My freshman year when I was taken out only about a third of the way into our season, I like did not want to get out of bed in the morning. I did not want to go to class. I had terrible eating habits. I really only got up to go to practice because I didn't want my like I think you can justify to yourself like letting yourself down, but when it comes to other people, like that's I wouldn't want to let my teammates down. So I would show up and sit at practice and watch. But I definitely mentally wasn't there. I definitely was like sitting there like glum and um, instead of really like inserting myself in a different capacity, I just tried to like get like my only way to think about it was just to get through it. So it was definitely not a thriving period of my life, but as it happened again my sophomore year, I chose a different way to adapt. Like I didn't want to make the same mistakes or things I could do differently twice. So I tried to handle it a different way. And I played through it my sophomore season, but I also mentally, had a lot of feelings like I wasn't good enough and my partner deserved better. She deserved someone who was fully capable of going all out, and like I'm the one getting targeted all the time in the game and I have to live up to it, but it's hard to live up to it. And it was really hard for to not like I had to actively work to not get consumed by these feelings and to just stay locked in with my partner. We're meant like make it a bigger than me and make it more about the team. So that when I was having to take time off again this fall, I was actually really proud of the way I was able to handle it, mentally and emotionally. Instead of like sitting on the side glum, like just sad that I couldn't participate, I really tried to, be the team's cheerleader and fill up, everyone's waters. We all kind of help run our team's Instagram sometimes. So like I would put stuff on our Instagram story of the girls playing, and I really didn't want to lose that aspect of being on a team, even though like a huge part of that being on the court was gone. I tried to still be like a voice and, a cheerleader, like a friendly space for my team. So yeah, it's never easy, but as long as you, at least for me, finding different ways to make it better than the last time is what has gotten me through, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Like you just always find ways to like make sure it, you still part of the team regardless. Like even if you feel like everything is going crazy, but it just seemed like you always find ways to still be part of the team, whether it's social media or leading from the sidelines. That's still amazing though, because it's I know sometimes like injuries can plague you, feel like you can't do nothing, but you always make sure to still be part of the team. And
Yeah.
so my question is, and we were just talking about like beach volleyball. Like I've only heard of beach volleyball during the Olympics. Why do you feel like it does not get televised enough when it comes to like all the other sports? And how can you say what are some ways that people can be aware of beach volleyball and everything?
Well, I think it's a great time to be a volleyball player right now. Instagram and the growth it's had, especially since COVID, we see a lot more short form media and a lot more of the creation of storytelling in terms of like individual players and creating narratives around them. And I think that's really special. Of course, we can always grow and get better. And the professional beach volleyball tour here in the United States, it's been a little tumultuous, and it's in terms of its ownership and like the streaming services change every year. It seems like in the last few years, and um, it's really like it's made me hungry to want to be a part of its growth. And I do get questions all the time. Like when I first got to Santa Clara, I thought it was so weird. Like people were like, "Wait, you play like why don't you play normal volleyball? Like why do you play beach volleyball?" They just thought it was like something I did for fun, and I'm like, "No, like this is a Division One like NCAA sport. Like this is a huge part of my life. It is my life. I want to play professionally. Like I want to go all the way with it." And while I think the appeal of it being like a fun sport on the beach, like it definitely has some roots in like partying or drinking, like you can have both that lighthearted, fun side for those that just want to be spectators, but like the actual physicality required to be great should be highly respected in my mind. And especially being a woman, like the international tour, like most women play in bikinis. So obviously, I've heard a lot of comments about that, and a lot of jokes made about like why it's so popular on the Olympics is because of the uniforms. And um, I mean, I don't even know what to say about that besides like I don't think any woman serious in the sport like is playing it because they think they look hot or because like that's what they want. Um, it's just kind of like a side reality in terms of functionality. Like you're rolling around in the sand, you need clothing that is tight, form fitting, allows you to move very freely. You're putting your body in very extreme positions. Um, So when I hear talk about that, I'm like, okay, if that's the first thing you notice, like fine, but as long as you're actually if that makes you watch the sport and you're realizing like how amazing it is outside of the uniforms, then so be it. I've played in the NCAA. We have to play with a tank top and spandex shorts, so that's not as much of a hot topic, I guess. It is still pretty, like I don't think any other sport is as revealing besides like maybe swimming or water polo, like those types of sports. But um, it's you gotta play in what allows you to function at your best. So whenever questions about that come up, that's normally my answer. Sorry, I hope I'm answering what you asked. I think. Do you want to hear more about the visibility of the sport, particularly?
Yeah, you answered a lot of it perfectly. You could go with the visibility because like I only see it or heard about it in Olympics, but it's not talked about a lot in like regular season in college.
Yeah. I mean, it is a newer sport. I think the NCAA like officially adopted beach volleyball in 2016. So, with volleyball's been around for like 50 some odd years. So, you can't expect them to be at that same level. But I mean, that's what I try and tell myself when I get questions like, oh my gosh, like beach volleyball is a sport? Like, yes, it is. Um, so yes, it's new, but it's also the fastest growing NCAA sport in history of NCAA. So there's hope in that. And I mean, all I can do is try and use my voice and social media and shows like yours to really encourage people to watch. Like it's like a lot of not every school has beach volleyball. It's still growing in a lot of places, but like a lot of California schools, good amount of Florida schools, but also like Seattle, University of Washington has a program, Oregon has a program. So it's not just limited to sunny areas. It's really fun to watch. There's always like DJs playing music, like you're outside in the sun. So I think that there's a lot of opportunities for it to be a very appreciated like spectator sport. There's a lot of it's just all about what the school invests. Like it's every school treats their sports differently, and that's something you just have to like I didn't know that as a college athlete going in. Every sport, has different funding and uh, it's hard because when you're starting a new sport, like you're normally not invested in a lot, but you still have to produce your results. So it's kind of like a catch 22 of, well, how am I supposed to get these results when I don't have the resources that other programs do? But then I won't get these resources unless I produce the results. So um, that's part of the struggle of being a newer sport, but also makes it part of the fun. Like we've definitely been underdogs in a lot of situations and beating like bigger name schools. Like my freshman year, we beat the University of Utah. Like way more like a huge school in a Power Five conference. So you got to kind of take the little wins and like Michael Jordan used to do is kind of like create little like slights, like ways to piss him off to like make him more motivated against his opponents. I think you'd use that in a variety of ways, and with beach volleyball, maybe being like that underdog, new sport, lower funding type thing you can tap into and use it to fuel your fire. Um, it's televised. The national championships are televised on ESPN, which is really awesome. So I just hope it continues to grow. Like we get coverage for our conference championships as well on the WCC network. But I just hope it continues to grow like on a huge platform like ESPN, and that individual schools will invest in their marketing, in their like event production to make it fun for fans to want to attend. Um, and then I think the sky's the limit. Like I know I'm biased, but beach volleyball really is a ton of fun to watch and be around. And you're right next to the courts. Like I've gotten like yelled at in my face, like from fans. Like they can be, 2 feet from you, and you just got to deal with it. Like it's what makes it fun.
Woo,
I have a
man.
lot. Yeah.
So I the fans, I was like, look. I like you. And then it's like there's a whole line that needs to be drawn. Whew, some of them be like so like say they have like their little parlays or bets like and you don't fulfill it's like Lee like come on I just want to play my game. So and what would you say was your favorite or best matchup that you experienced in beach volleyball?
Ooh. Um, so just with the way beach volleyball is formatted in college, it's similar to tennis in the sense of like you have five pairs, so five different teams within like your school wide team competing against another school's five teams, and whichever school gets the majority wins, like three, four, or five wins, gets wins the duel. So there's a lot of instances where like I could win my match, but my team loses, or I could lose my match, but my team wins. Um, and playing at the top of the lineup is unique in that like I'm not just playing in schools that are like ranked higher, but it's like these are the best of the school that is ranked higher, and that's really special. But it also comes with a lot of responsibility. Um, so a few of my favorite matches last season, even though like they didn't result in wins, we played against Stanford, who is ranked number 10 in the country around there, and like we always they're only like a 25-minute drive from Santa Clara. Like we're obviously bigger in a bigger conference and have been around longer with a bigger reputation, I guess. And so coming in is always like I just want to give them hell. Like like they're gonna see Santa Clara and be like, okay, whatever, like it's Santa Clara. But specifically the girls I played against, one was like on the US has been competing like on the USA national team doing events representing our country, which is super awesome. But I was like, okay, like this girl thinks she's gonna cream me. But though we ended up losing, it was like a super tight match. It was like the final score was like 23-21, 22-20. It was at Stanford on their senior day, so it was. I have a little bit of comfort in that, like we gave them quite a scare on what was supposed to be an easy match, and it definitely stung. I definitely had nightmares about it for a few days. Like when you're that close, any one point could have changed the outcome. But that match will uh, forever be like really fun and important to me. And then also just playing Loyola Marymount University is in LA. They're always the top of the WCC, our conference, and they're number like 3 or 4 in the country. So they're very good. They have great coach, great players, and playing against their team. Again, we lost. We ended up losing this time in the third set, 15-12. So again, another really tight match. But we played them. We played them a few times throughout the year, but the last term of the year in our West Coast Conference Championships, we're playing them in Santa Monica, so neutral site in LA, but it's like the most coverage we get. So like there's like broadcasters right in front of us, and that's like the biggest event of the year for us, the most hype we get. So it's kind of like that buzzing atmosphere, and then also like these girls were all Americans, and like really fun to play against. And it really was sad losing. I definitely cried.
Oh,
And just like wish, um, it's one of those where like you recognize your own mistakes, but that you're also playing very good people. So it's not necessarily like you did all these things wrong, but it's just when you're at that high quality caliber of a sport, like that's just what happens. So um, it was mentally really just sad, like a little heartbreaking that we can pull through, but I'll like never forget those matches either. Like those are way more important to me than easier wins.
hey, I mean, shoot, like all those matchups, like man, girl, and oh, I I felt the stung where you're like when you said like it's always those close matches where you like just it just tugs at you like what could I do better? What should have happened and all that stuff. Like if only and only, but then it's like you know what? I still gave them hell and just like just scared them like, oh, senior day, oh, we're gonna make sure we upset them. But who would you say inspired you both on and off um, the court, and like what influenced you to like choose beach volleyball over like the regular volleyball?
Ooh, okay. I definitely have a lot of role models in the world of sports outside of beach volleyball and inside. Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan obviously are legends. And like those shows, I remember The Last Dance came out on Netflix like a month after COVID happened, and that
Yes.
was really huge, like in providing me some kind of inspiration and motivation when I felt a little lost. Like, what do I do? Everything's up in the air in terms of college. Like, I've worked so hard for this, but it's out of my control. So, it was not only like really great films to watch, but it helped me realize the importance of every little bit. I would make videos of myself like playing against my wall and send it out, or like doing film analysis and just trying to show coaches and for myself to like that no matter what happens, like I'm a dedicated athlete and I want to be really good. So, pandemic or not, or injury or not, or whatever's going on or not, like I'm going to put in the work. And um, so learning from them, and like another great reason about social media and like YouTube is being able to look at clips. I have like kind of a track of like motivational videos on YouTube, and one of them is with Kobe. Um, there's a few Kobe videos, so I'll listen to those sometimes. But in beach volleyball itself, um, I'd probably say April Ross is. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people would pick her as like very inspirational and a huge face of our sport. She actually played with Carrie Walsh, the player you remembered, after she retired with Misty. So April has won a bronze, silver, and gold medal in the Olympics for beach volleyball. And she won her gold at like in her late 30s. So, some people are like, your athletic prime is gone by then, but she was a real force to be reckoned with. And she's always been remembered as like the hardest working player. And I think that's really empowering because, I'm not the tall, like I'm one of the shortest ones on my team. I'm the smaller position because you have two on beach volleyball. I'm the shorter one, like the smaller one. And um, it's really inspiring to hear that hard work can take you anywhere. Um, and it's when days when you're not feeling your best or you're doubting your abilities, like you can always focus on things that are in your control and producing that output other than focusing on things that have no bearing, like your height or your uh, current, level of experience on that given day. I don't know. It's more empowering to think about what's possible if you really go after it with all you've got.
For sure. And I love the answer of when you say Kobe because I'm like yes, like
Badass.
and the Last Dance. Oh my gosh, I remember it was huge. Everybody tuned in on Netflix and no or ESPN. Yeah, it was ESPN. Then Netflix picked it up, say we'll watch it. This whole 10-part documentary, everybody's like, and they always had that meme like, I took it personal. I took it personally. And it's like,
Yes.
I took it
Yes.
personally. So
I wrote down a lot of quotes from that show, from the
yes.
series.
Yeah, so I noticed you were love the pictures. Hello, you killed it on the dress at the NL and the NIL summit. You
Thank
killed it. So,
you.
what was the NIL summit like, and how has NIL impacted in your career?
The NIL summit was really fun. I'm really lucky that Santa Clara has done some investment in NIL. We were actually recognized for being an institution and like the groundbreakers of NIL collectives, even though we are like a smaller school in comparison to the other ones that we're attending. So one of our associate athletic directors picked 6 student athletes to go, and him and I have been tight from day one. my freshman year was the first year that NIL was legalized. So it was this whole new world for everyone. And I honestly like had no idea what it was or what it meant when I got on campus. Like I, I'm not from a family of like competitive athletes. Like my dad played tennis in college, but I mean, he's older and he was like, we didn't even lift weights. Like the NCAA was nothing as it is now, like it was then, like very different. And like Santa Clara doesn't have football. Um, and obviously, like the highest revenue sports are football and men's basketball. But what was really cool to see from the get go is women's volleyball actually shot right up there in terms of NIL opportunity and money made. So me, I mean, I'm just very naturally curious and I like learning and having a longer goal with beach volleyball in terms of like wanting to play professionally. I knew it was important to grow a following either way. Like sponsors are very heavily relied on as a professional athlete. So I knew the earlier I started, the better in terms of trying to grow an engaged following. It's really just learning through other people's experiences, word of mouth. The very first thing I did was liquid IV, which any athlete could. It was more of just an opportunity for anyone who found it. And it's really basic, like exchanging Instagram stories content for product, and but it's a start. And I just tried to learn what other people were doing out there and what I could do while also balancing like being a student athlete in itself. It's really a choice you want to make, and a lot of people, at least here in this area, don't really go after it. It is like a job in itself, and it sounds kind of silly, almost like, oh, like making TikToks or Instagram videos. Like normally you just do that for fun, but it actually is like time consuming in a business. And I've never like had a desire to be a video editor, but like trying to navigate apps like, well, just the editing features within Instagram and TikTok or CapCut. I'm like, this, like, I'm trying here, but it's not really that good. Like, what do I do? I'm just trying to grow. So, and it's also while keeping like your own authentic voice. So, I know I post more than most people, but I'm still not posting a lot compared to to like other student athletes that are known for being like in the NIL space. So, um, I think first it's a choice. Like, are you okay with making yourself a brand other than like just personally, like your normal, like 20-year-old, girl on Instagram? Because it really is a shift from that personal to like, okay, I'm actually actively trying to be like an influencer in a way, but trying to build my name, image, and likeness. So, once I kind of got over like, oh, like, will this be weird? Will people judge me? Or no one else is doing it at my school? Like, I decided to go after it. And I wouldn't say I'm like 100%, like, I don't have a content scheduling calendar yet with like, I'm going to post this on this day and this on this day. But I try to be authentic and share all parts of my life. I think it's really important to show like, I'm not just a volleyball player, or I'm not just an athlete, or I'm not just a social butterfly, or sharing my faith, like whatever it is. There's always more to it than meets the eye. So I think, like I've heard feedback a little negatively on like, oh, well, like your posting is all over the place, or like you need more volleyball content or whatever. But then it's like, I do love posting volleyball content, but first of all, we don't have a lot of it. And second of all, there's way more to it. So I don't know. It's just constant learning and constant talking to others who are making their way in the space. It's been great meeting people over social media, and like I really feel a sense of community and like wanting to help each other out, which is all you can ask for. So I was really kickstarted from that NIL summit that I attended in June in Atlanta. It was really fun and got to learn a lot, jam packed 2 days, and meet a lot of people. Like the Meta NIL Empowered program is helping female student athletes with their content creation and that whole side of things. I haven't gotten in yet, but maybe next year they'll let me let me in.
No.
But yeah, it's honestly just fun to learn. And I haven't made a ton of money, but it's like anything's better than nothing when you're a student athlete not making an income. So um I I had to deal with Wear SPF, which is the professional golfer Justin Thomas's sunscreen brand. So that was nice, and it's like very applicable playing beach volleyball in the sun. So um, it's just trying to find that balance of, what are things that I actually need and want to endorse because I use them versus, how can I help them and make content that's like I'm actually proud to post, which also helps them get more traffic. Figuring out, it's really just figuring it out. There's no right way to do it. You just got to try and not care what if people will judge you or things like that. This is probably the biggest thing I've learned.
Hey, it's all good. No worries. It just looks so fun. The NIL summit looks so fun. I'm like, I know I'm
You
not a
should
student.
go.
I would love to. I mean, I'm not a student, but like, I would love to.
No,
Like,
it's open.
really?
Like you can register for it. I'm pretty sure. Because there was like if you've heard of Sam Green, she has her own
Yes.
content creation business, and she was there filming content. She's been killing it. She's been a great help to me.
Yeah.
Um,
Shout out to her. So,
Shout out Sam Green. We'll send you this clip. Yeah,
but
she's great. You
I'm
should
so
check
good.
it. You should look into going. It's the first weekend of June in Atlanta.
Oh, and I live near. Well, I'm in North Carolina, but it's a hop and a
That's
skip.
not too far.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, because it just looks so fun, and everybody was dressed to the nines, and I'm like, because I had a guest. I had a couple of guests that were at the NIL summit, and they're like, "Yo, like we slayed." I'm like, "Hey, y'all did,
Oh
y'all,
yeah, eat it up. A break
yes,
from the sports content.
yes."
It was
And
nice to have them. They had like a little red carpet and like professional cameras and stuff. It was fun.
yes. So you mentioned you're big in faith, especially I saw like Ephesians 2:10, which great scripture. Hello. How do you balance your faith and your academics as well as sports?
Mm. Well, it's definitely still an ongoing process, as in it's not all figured out. But I'm really lucky to have. There's an organization called Up that runs out of Santa Clara University and our neighbors at San Jose State University. So it's just it's like FCA, which I'm sure you've heard of, and a lot of athletes have. The couple that started it used to work at FCA, and then they broke off to just start their own. I think smaller organization, but very similar values and ways of doing things. So it's just we would meet every Monday night on. They have a house right near San Jose State's campus, and we call them family dinners, and so you get like a home cooked meal. We'd play like a game or do some trivia, and then we would hear someone's faith story. And they had a lot of connections with like professional athletes in the area that were Christians, or we've had actually last week our Santa Clara like assistant baseball coach led the talk about his faith journey and being in the professional in the Angels organization, and I'm just so grateful to have that community. I'm really close with the couple that started it, and the other couple that lives and like runs the house in the Santa Clara side of things. They've become good friends, and this year I got into more of a leadership role with the club, and uh, I couldn't even imagine where I would be without it. Like when I mentioned the times during my freshman year when I just didn't even want to get out of bed. I was really, I guess, kind of given a lifeline through the friends I had made through Called Up, and it really helped me like establish that foundation. Um, and like overall trust in the Lord's plan for me. And it's really helped calm a lot of anxiety I used to feel and given me like an overall sense of peace and who I am and why I was made. Um, and that's just immensely freeing. So that's definitely a big part of my life here at Santa Clara. And I'll miss Called Up a ton when I graduate this summer. But I will forever have those lessons that I've learned from it.
Girl, won't he do it though? Won't he do it? Won't he do it though? Girl,
What?
God is good all the time, and all the time God is good.
Oh, we used to have to say that when we were little. I was at like a little Catholic school until eighth grade.
Oh,
That's sweet. I'm happy to hear you feel the same way.
Yes. I just had to like I've always liked certain scriptures because it's like yo, and then like we mentioned, anxiety. I'm like, yeah, yeah, that's a big one because
Cross that off the list.
so there's I've been through too much anxiety and I'm like having certain burdens, but I was like, well, God did say cast all your anxieties onto Him because He cares for you, like 1 Peter 5 says, and cast all your burdens, just like
Heck
Psalm
yeah.
22. I'm like, huh, yep, let
It's
me
good
do
you
that.
got those up here. I love it.
Yes, and
And his plans for you are great. Like whenever I'm it's so easy to get caught up in, not just injury or not just teammate dynamics or not just struggling academically or with your relationships or being far from home. Like there's so many things, right? And then I'm like, God has like such a good plan for me. And even if I don't know what it is right now, that doesn't mean it isn't coming.
girl, yes, especially like Proverbs 16, like even 3:39 talks about like all the planned steps, and Jeremiah 29:11. For I know
2911. Yep.
I'm just like, and then it's crazy. I've always like it's like we always find ourselves like saying like playing like I'm gonna do this, and then God's like,
No, you're
nice.
not.
Let me detour that real quickly for you. So,
I got it.
so
That's
my question is, I got a couple more questions. What
okay.
scripture would you describe your journey?
Oh gosh. Um, I mean, the first one that really became powerful to me was Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you, all of that. That was my little like eighth grade quote. Before my faith was really like real to me. Um, but I guess it just kind of feels like what you're going through right now. Like and called up a few weeks ago, we were talking about Isaiah 4, I think it was Isaiah 41:5, 42:5. Actually, they're the same quote, Isaiah 41:5 and Isaiah 42:5. Um, and ooh, let me pull it up. I don't want to butcher it, but I mean, it's all like it's really cool. I think that some Bibles have like, when you're feeling like anxiety, when you're feeling fear, when you're feeling sad, like, and then I'll literally have like sections to go to, and I find that really powerful, um, for whatever you're going through in life, and kind of empowering you again to like the worth that you have by being created in the Lord's image and likeness, and you know, if you truly do believe that you were saved by grace, then what like nothing can hold you back. I think that was really powerful to believe, um, in like realizing I didn't have to earn it, but it was freely given to me. um, was just super freeing. But let me pull up that Isaiah.
I just know Isaiah 41:10 for fear not, for I am with you, or something like that.
Yeah, definitely along those lines. I think when we were talking about anxiety, that was hitting. Uh,
That hit us both.
hit that. That hit that. Yeah, it is
Woo!
40. 41. Uh, one second.
Take your time, girl. Take your time.
So 41, 9, and 10 say, I have called you back from the ends of the earth, saying, you are my servant, for I have chosen you, and will not throw you away. Do not be afraid, for I am with you. Do not be discouraged, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will hold you up with my victorious right hand. Um, I mean, part of me is like, enough said, but I think it's just so important to feel chosen, to feel loved, to feel that you always have someone with you, because this world can be lonely sometimes, and you can feel alone, and that you have like questioning your worth and your purpose, and uh getting yourself to like getting in the habit of bringing it back to the word is, I think, super empowering and true and uplifting. So I still have a lot to learn and grow, with in my faith, and like kind of making those habits in my brain instead of more destructive ones, but I just try to give myself grace, and think, how can I make the Lord proud and myself proud, not, you know, the things of this world.
For sure. Because amen. Amen, amen, amen. So I always ask my guests this question. Um, what makes Nicole Bonafide, which means authentic, and what makes your story stand out from others?
Ooh. I don't think any one individual struggle that I've had is just like huge, unique, like no one's gone through it before. But um, I think some ways I may not like turn heads, but maybe stand out a little is very open with my voice, and I'm very much of a problem solver, or I try to be. So if I'm very curious, so like if things, like if I don't understand something, I'm very like forthcoming and asking about it right away. Like why doesn't this happen like this? Why are we doing this instead? And that really shone forth when I first got to Santa Clara, and like not knowing the bureaucracy of just college athletics. And I'm very much like understanding why things are happening this way. And then again, like when I'm in physical therapy, I'm like, okay, like what am I supposed to feel when I'm doing this, and why is my body doing this? Like I'm probably a little annoying with it. Like I make jokes to my physical therapist about how I'm like, I could probably pass like PT school pretty soon with all the work, but it's like, I take a lot of notes. I'm very like, I don't want to just do something because I'm told. I want to like do it because I know it and it makes sense, and like it's very holistic for me. So sometimes coaches, I just want soldiers. Like I'm not exactly your girl all the time, because uh, I won't lie. Like I have butted heads with coaches or teammates, and it's never out of like bad love or ill will. It's just I'm very much a like, share what I think, you share what you think. It'll make us closer, even if it's not the easiest conversation or the easiest way to do things. I hope that made sense. But
Oh yes, of course. Hey, girl, you are one of one. You better let them know.
thank
You
you.
better
I
let
feel
them
like a
know.
lot of the things that made me stand out maybe were also what made me good. So it's been like a kind of a personal journey in itself, learning like, okay, I'm part of a team, but I'm also an individual, and a lot of what has made me an individual has made me stand out positively in this game and negatively. So how do I kind of meld my authentic self and the intangible qualities that I have that have helped me excel in this sport, while also melding with a team and being like one unit? That's a lesson I'm currently working on.
Amen. I'm here for it. Before we end this episode, can you let the folks know how they can support you and where they can find you, as well as any upcoming events for you?
Thank you. Yeah. I'm mostly on Instagram at Nicole E. Robison. Um, I also have a TikTok, but it's embarrassingly low and it's falling. So if you can show some love, I need it. Haven't hit that viral spot yet, unfortunately. It's quite low, but we'll get there. Um, um, as for beach volleyball specifically, as I said, I'm redshirting the season. I'm not competing with the team at all. So I'm honed in on just graduating early and completing my physical therapy so I can get back and be strong for the next program I end up in. So yeah, we didn't even hit on the transfer process, but that's also what's going on in my life. And then I'm also on LinkedIn if more professional student opportunities come along. Navigating like student athletes have to do, navigating their sport, but also life after sport. Even though I don't want to leave this sport anytime soon. um, so yeah, please feel free to reach out, message me. I love to learn. I love to put myself out there and try to improve myself and the sport, and all women in sports. So thanks for the work you do on your podcast too. I think it's super cool.
Thank you. I truly appreciate it. I'm gonna make sure to put that follow for you on TikTok, and to make sure to tag you when I have these clips on the TikTok for you. I got you. So
Thank you. Yeah, I'll totally repost them or however you like to do it.
yes, ma'am. Thank you guys for tuning in, and most importantly, thank you to Nicole for sharing your story. It is truly, truly inspiring and appreciated. And y'all be sure to
Oh, sweet.
thank you
You're
guys.
sweet.
Thank you. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Thanks for having me on. Bye.